It's season 2, episode 47 of the Hall of Fame show. And Evan, I am going to say congratulations, buddy.
I'm interested to find out what I'm being congratulated for, because you told me you're going to congratulate me, but you didn't tell me for what.
Well, two things. One, happy birthday to your lovely wife.
Oh, thank you. Yes, she is exactly 4 weeks older than me. So in 3 weeks, we'll get to do this on my birthday.
Nice. Well, we'll make that the celebratory 43rd?
43rd, yep, coming up.
Yeah. All right, we'll do that. And we'll come up with a list of 43 things older than Evan, other than me.
Sliced bread.
Something like that, yeah. But you are looking like you're going to destroy me in yet another series of bets.
Oh, well, I mean, come on.
It was, it was a given. For those keeping track at home, which is probably just you and I think I managed to get it down to 4 beers that I owe you.
You did get it down to 4 beers.
And I'm going to lose another 2 because your Patriots are awesome. And the Bills that I sort of like bet on, and my Saints are on a 5-game losing streak. And there was 2 bets specifically. The Saints were going to do better than the Patriots. The Saints don't look like they're even going to make the playoffs at all.
Agreed. And that the Patriots going to win the division.
Right. Which that one I thought, I got that one in the bag at least. No, I do not.
Sorry, that broke up. Try again.
I was just saying I thought I had that one in the bag at least, and I clearly do not.
It's still possible though.
It's still possible.
The Patriots still play Indy, which is going to be a tough game. The Indy's kind of a very similar version to the Patriots.
No.
They play the Bills again. They play Jacksonville, which are going to win, and then they play the game that we always lose, which is at Miami. So,
yeah. I mean, I'm still not mathematically eliminated in this, but with my likely move to Winnipeg in a few months, and again, because like, how many people move from Barbados to Winnipeg? I guess just me.
In February.
Well, it looks like it could be March, but either way, the 2022-2023 season, I plan to get sort of like a half season thing of the Jets.
Okay.
Boston's going to have to be one of those. And I think where we'll be collecting on said wager. Because not only am I going to sort of like pay off all these beers, I'm going to do it at an arena where everything sort of gets jacked up in price.
Fair enough.
So congrats preemptively on at least, well, not preemptively on your wife's birthday. So let's just celebrate the women in our lives.
That already happened. Yes. So
really should, because I know maybe all the people watching you're looking at us like, women want them. Oh yeah. At one point, one wanted me and one wanted Evan. So, and they're still with us.
Persistency is the way to get a girl. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, and they're both good looking. So look at that.
There you go.
Absolutely. So I wanted to open up with that because we're also recording a little bit later. So your death march just.
Oh, it's ridiculous. It's too bad that because of Wednesday, her birthday, we ended up, and I always have something Thursday night. We ended up moving this to Friday, and oh my goodness, this has been absolutely
2 giant ones.
I mean, you did 2 giant ones last day, 3 giant ones the last day.
Yeah.
From football, auto racing, and music.
I didn't even see auto racing, so.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Do you want to just start with that, and then we can get into everything else?
Yeah, you know what? Let's just sort of like do that. I know what sometimes we start off with, like it's a bit of a morbid thing, but don't think of it this way, guys. Think of it as a celebration of some 100%. Great lives. So except for one, because one feels really sad to me, and I think we know which one that is.
Yeah. So anyway, let's begin at the beginning here. I have to say the Beige Mistress may have had a couple of hits this week. So the first being Alex Orban, the Hungarian-American saber fencer who competed at the 68, 72, and 76 Olympics for actually U.S. and in Hungary.
Oh,
he also qualified for the 80 Olympics, but did not compete because he was on the U.S. team at that point.
Okay. All right.
So he had switched sides, but He was 400. He received one of the 461 athletes to receive a congressional gold medal. But he competed for both the U.S. and Hungary. So that might count because also we lost Tomas Somlo as well, a third member of the band Omega since we've been watching, the most successful Hungarian rock band in history.
Hey, can you backtrack? Congressional gold medal? I didn't know the U.S. did that.
Oh, let me double check that. I just closed the thing. So
okay, because I'm assuming when you mean that means for all the people who would have competed in the 1980 games.
Yeah. So hold on. Yeah, it looks like they gave congressional gold medals. Hold on, let's see. So I can find out when it was.
Okay. So while you're doing that, I guess that's not on the table for the upcoming Winter Olympics. I know there's now the United States. I think Canada's joined them on that. My dad said so. I didn't really take a look at that. And a diplomatic boycott, which really saves both of our countries money when it comes right down to it. Okay, yeah, we're not. Yeah, ooh, that's gonna teach them.
So to recognize the athletes of the 1980 U.S. Summer Olympic team who forfeited the Moscow Games, the United States boycott to protest the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, they were given the Congressional Gold Medal. Congress authorized U.S. Mint to forge gold-plated medals in lieu of the standard solid gold medals. So,
yay.
So yeah, so it was given July 8th of 1980, but they didn't get it for a while. So.
Yes, how dare you invade Afghanistan before we do? Sorry.
Yeah, well, we didn't know we were going to invade Afghanistan back then. So they received it.
That's very true.
They received it between Simon Wiesenthal and Queen Beatrix I of the Netherlands. There you go. Those are the Congressional Medal of Honor winners on either side of them.
So. All right. Well, let's move on.
Yeah. So, like I said, we lost Tomas Somlo from the band Omega. They're the most successful band in Hungarian history that neither of us have ever heard of, but they've lost their third member since we've been paying attention to this.
Well, so, how many members do they have?
Way more than you would think. I would like to point one major passing. Did you ever watch Band of Brothers?
No, I should have, but because my brother keeps telling me I should be watching that, but no, I have not.
Band of Brothers is really good. I highly recommend it. But Colonel Edward David Shames passed away.
Okay.
He's the last actual surviving member of Easy Company that was talked about in Band of Brothers. So he was 99 years old when he just passed away earlier this week. So just one of those, like, you know, the world passing away sort of situations. So, okay. So from the world of music, and then we'll get to the big one later. Okay. So I'm going to start with Dennis O'Brien, who was George Harrison's business manager, passed away at the age of 80. A lot of these I'm going to run through. I apologize to any family members who are paying attention, but we have a bunch of them. Clarence Avant, who was I'm sorry, not Clarence Avant, his wife.
Yeah.
I apologize. So Clarence Avant was elected to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame earlier this summer. He had his thing, and his wife was there. Fortunately, his wife Jackie was murdered. Someone broke into their house and a botched robbery, shot and killed her at the age of 81. Which is, I mean, you're shooting an 81-year-old woman. Come on.
Yeah, a real brave guy.
Brave dude. But yeah, she unfortunately passed away. She was seen in all the stuff this summer for when he got elected. Another person who passed away, the tour manager of Led Zeppelin during their heyday, Richard Cole, passed away at the age of 75. He also worked with, after Led Zeppelin, he worked with, you ready for this? The Yardbirds, Vanilla Fudge, the new vaudeville band, Crazy Town, Fu Manchu, Eric Clapton, Black Sabbath, the Gypsy Kings, the Searchers, the Young Rascals, Lita Ford, Three Dog Night, the Who, and Ozzy Osbourne, among others. That's pretty good.
Got to feel that this guy probably somebody on our fictitious Rock and Roll Hall of Fame contributor section had to have been sort of inspired by this guy.
Yeah, well, he actually in hold on, let me take a look at this.
Like maybe.
Oh no, and the song remains the same. You could see him in that, but I was looking for, I thought there was a fictional character based on him, but there's not. So yeah, Richard Cole was 75. From the world of music, country musician Stonewall Jackson, which was his actual birth name, believe it or not, passed away at the age of 89. He had number one hit in 1959 on the country charts, Waterloo, which I listened to this afternoon and is exactly what I expected it to be. 1964, he also had BJ the DJ as number one hit. And he had a few others, including You, Me and You and a Dog Named Boo, among others. He hit the country charts between 58 and.
So he wrote that, and because like that didn't that go number one in the mainstream charts for somebody else?
It may have. It went number 7 for him in the country charts.
Okay.
So
I seem to remember that song, like not as a country, but I could be wrong. Incidentally, isn't it sort of interesting? Like it's only like a few years old that where you can say like, hey, maybe we don't name our kid after a Confederate general.
Well, you know, I mean, he was born in Tabor City, North Carolina in 1932. We're just lucky he wasn't born with a hood.
You know, and we don't want to disparage.
I know, I'm scared.
Yeah, but look at me trying to be the good one.
I know. What the heck?
Well, I'll wreck it later. Actually, no, I won't. The shit box is gonna. I was gonna go all in on Seth Rogen. I've decided not to.
Oh, okay. Melvin Parker passed away. He and his brother Maceo were key members of James Brown's backing band. He passed away at the age of 77. He, of course, played with Papa's Got a Brand New Bag, I Got You, and Get Up Off of That Thing, among others. So he was a drummer. Yeah, he was a drummer for all of those songs. Let's see here. There's just so many people. I want to make sure I get everybody in order that makes sense. Barry Harris passed away, who is a American jazz pianist, bandleader, composer. He was 91, a member of the Jazz Hall of Fame, passing away. One second.
Yeah, we were due for a big one, like a big group. I don't want to say that in a bad way, but it kind of feels like the last 6-7 weeks, we haven't had a long list of notable deaths.
Correct. So from the world of music, but also, I guess, music writing, Greg Tate passed away, who was a longtime critic for the Village Voice, but also one of the great authors of going into music. There's a lot of stuff when he passed away earlier this week. He was only 64. The lead singer of the group Tavares passed away. Hold on one second. I want to make sure I have the right one. It's Ralph Tavares.
I was just cranking up the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack.
Oh, there you go.
Damn.
They're probably best. They're from New Bedford, Massachusetts, and Providence, Rhode Island. Probably best known for their hit "Heaven Must Be Missing an Angel" from 1976. They are Cape Verdean, 5 Cape Verdean brothers, the Cape Verdean Jacksons. Just so you know, Massachusetts. For anyone who's ever been to Boston, we have way more Cape Verdeans than live in Cape Verde. There's so many people. The third most commonly spoken language in Boston is Portuguese, and it's
seriously.
Yeah, not kidding. We have so many Portuguese, Brazilian, and Cape Verdean folks in there. So
when you visit me in Winnipeg, you'll notice a shit ton of Filipinos.
Okay, interesting.
Because it's like the second large. I don't know if this is second in Canada or second in North America. Second largest contingency of Filipinos.
Interesting.
Canada for sure could, because Toronto's number 1. Could very well be in North America. I forget, but I know in our impending move, my Indonesian wife is very pumped because there's a Filipino fast food restaurant chain called Jollibee.
Go get some Pancit. That stuff is amazing.
I don't know what that is, but I bet you if she was awake, she'd tell me exactly what that is. And
Hey,
she'd
just trust me on this, my friend.
Pancit?
Go get yourself some Pancit when you get there.
Okay.
It's a Filipino noodle dish, and it's delicious. So
It's all right. Sounds good.
So anyway, Ralph Tavares was 79 years old. We also lost, as I'm working my way up here,
I'm
from
interjecting a lot because I didn't do much last week.
well, that's okay. From the band Rare Earth, Gil Bridges passed away at the age of 80 from complications from COVID. Rare Earth, of course, is probably best known for I'm trying to think what their biggest hit probably is.
I'm not even sure.
Hold on, I'll get it for you. I just want to celebrate. And also, and Get Ready from it went to #1 in Canada in 1970.
70, yeah. Okay, now I know exactly what we're talking about.
Yep. So he, like I said, he was 80. He passed away earlier this week. I'm just in music too. It's like there's so many people just from music this week. From rapper Slim 400, passed away at the age of 33. He was shot and killed finally. And I say finally because in 2019, he was shot 9 times and survived.
Well, I guess they say the 10th time's the charm.
Yeah. So he passed away. A big member of the LA rap scene. He was only 33. David Lasley passed away as well. He is a background singer and composer. He backed up Bonnie Raitt, James Taylor, Luther Vandross, Chic, Aretha Franklin, Dionne Warwick, Dusty Springfield, and Boz Scaggs, and also wrote music for Bonnie Raitt, Whitney Houston, Anita Baker, Rita Coolidge, Crystal Gayle, Luther Vandross, and more. He was 74 years old. I'm trying to see what his biggest hit here was. There are just a whole bunch. There's so many songs here. He just wrote a ton of them. So, but he was 74. I don't want to spend a bunch of time because there's so many people, unfortunately, that still to go on this list. I'm still just in music. We also lost from the lead singer of the Angelic Upstarts, Mency, who is Angelic Upstarts are one of the early punk bands out of London. So one of the really groups that founded the punk scene that really took over.
I'll have to look them up. I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah, I actually don't know how old Mency was because it didn't actually say, but he passed away earlier this week as well. All right, we have one more big name in music, but we'll get back to them. Coming out of all that, going into the world of tennis, Hall of Fame tennis player Darlene Hard passed away at the age of 85. She was ranked as high as number 2 in 1957. Probably most famous for losing to Althea Gibson at the 57 Wimbledon and then kissing her on the cheek and congratulations, which was a big deal for a white woman be kissing a black woman after winning a tennis tournament.
Well, kudos on her. Like there wasn't a whole lot of that going on.
There was not. She won the 60 French, the 60 and 61 U.S. Open, and doubles titles, 3 doubles titles for the French, 55, 57, and 60, 4 for Wimbledon, 57, 59, 60, and 63, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, and 69 for the U.S. Open.
Can you imagine the bullshit she got through? She probably heard from some of her friends. I put that big air quotes for doing that.
Yeah, probably.
Like, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah. So, but one of the great, she fell in her home and had complications. Passed away at the age of 85. But again, she was elected the Tennis Hall of Fame back in 1973. It's one of those people that's kind of forgotten a little bit to history, but certainly one of the great women tennis players for better part of 2 decades in the 50s and 60s. From the world of wrestling, Blackjack Lanza passed away
Mm-hmm.
at the age of 86. I'm going to leave this to you.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add here. He was before my time. I remember him more because when I started watching wrestling in the mid 80s, he was already retired. So he was basically one of those concerned officials who would come out to sort of like break up things because he had a much longer career, I think, in the WWE as a backstage agent and producer. So I think he worked for Vince McMahon for, I could be wrong here, but I think for like 20, 30 years or something like that, like after he ended. But yeah, WWE Hall of Famer with Blackjack Mulligan. I don't really have much more to say on that because it's before my time, but I just remember him as concerned official number 3.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
He was a member of the WWE Hall of Fame, Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, and more importantly, married to his wife for 64 years.
Oh, I missed that one.
Married in 1957. So still with her in 2021. So
damn. Well, good on him.
Godspeed. He was 86 years old.
Mm-hmm.
From the world of football, College Football Hall of Famer Bill Glass, who played with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Detroit Lions, and Cleveland Browns, 4-time Pro Bowler from 62 to 64 and 67. Member of the champions 1964 Browns and elected as a Cleveland Brown legend in 2007. Defensive end, passed away at the age of 86. From the world of, I'm sorry, I forgot one from, I apologize. I forgot a big name from music before we get to the other one. Robbie Shakespeare passed away.
Yeah, it just happened, didn't it?
Yeah, on Wednesday. Jamaican bass guitarist, best known as half of the Sly and Robbie. One of the great musicians in reggae. He was only 68. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, there are a lot of people, so I apologize for getting out of order here. Glenn Foster passed away in police custody. Member of the New Orleans Saints. He was only 31. He only played the NFL for 2 years, had a lot of issues, but just notable for passing away while fighting police.
Yeah. I got nothing. Yeah, I got nothing on that because I didn't really read anything more from that.
I haven't yet either. That's still under investigation. Member of the Buffalo Bills teams for 12 years, Mark Pike, linebacker, defensive end, and special teamer, passed away from complications of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma at the age of 57. He also contracted COVID right before he passed away with non-Hodgkin's, which is not a winning combination. But he played in all 4 Super Bowls for the Bills back in the early 90s. So he played for them from 1986 to 1998. Speedy Duncan passed away, Pro Bowler in 71, 3-time AFL All-Star.
Today,
65,
I think, no?
66 and 67. Yeah, earlier, actually yesterday.
Oh, yesterday. Okay.
Yeah, passed away at the age of 79. A member of the Chargers Hall of Fame, member of the 40th and 50th anniversary team for the Chargers. Also played 3 years for the Redskins. He was 79 years old. I don't know what he passed from.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now we got to the big names. We'll start in football. Hall of Famer Claude Humphrey.
Yeah, thankfully a Hall of Famer.
Thankfully, a Hall of Famer.
It was on the list when I started this website. On my not in Hall of Fame football list. Yeah, because it was someone who seemingly got passed over.
Yep.
But sorry, I interrupted.
No, that's fine. No, I mean, Humphrey finally got elected to the Hall of Fame in 2014. Yeah. He was multiple times senior collection. He was a selection. He was not elected in 2009, which is part of my whole frustration with the Hall of Fame. They just kept not electing people. There are so many people backed up. Just please get them out of the way if they get that far. But he was number 3 pick overall in 1968. But the Atlanta Falcons, he played for them for 10 years and finished his career with the Eagles. A member of that Eagles team, led by Ron Jaworski, that won the NFC in 1980. 6-time Pro Bowler, 5-team first-time All-Pro, 3-time second-team All-Pro, Defensive Rookie of the Year, and the Falcons Ring of Honor. But other than that, they couldn't come up with why he should have been a Hall of Famer. 8-time All-Pro.
Yeah, it's not even so much a shot at that. It's just clogged.
It's so many, but that's why if you get somebody to the final 5 or to the final guys for the seniors, just elect them so we don't have to get them up again.
I think they've reached that point at this stage.
They have.
I
agree.
Now I know that like virtual, it's not a lock. And I know when we started doing this, I never felt that when a senior candidate came up, well, it's a lock, he's going to get in, but it feels that way now.
It does. Agreed. Yeah, there are times you come up like, oh, is Bullet Bob Hayes going to get in? They've been talking about him for a while. Is Ray Guy going to get in? Like, there are people who are just like, you weren't sure. At this point, they just know there's so many backed up.
Well,
I feel like
needed to be a senior. He's the perfect example of that.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. I'm wondering if he doesn't get elected this year, if what's his name from the Bills is going to
Tasker. I've been wondering the exact same thing.
And then, but how does he get there? It's going to be the tough thing. There's so many people. How does he get there? Particularly if they're only doing one a year. So, Anyway, Claude Humphrey was 77 years old when he passed. Did you see what he passed from?
I did
not.
No.
So, also passing away shockingly yesterday, Demaryius Thomas.
Did we get a reason why yet? I mean, like,
so what his cousin said was that Thomas had, and this best part I know at least is true, that he had been suffering from seizures for the past year. And what his cousin said was that he had a seizure in the shower and hit his head.
Oh, fuck me.
Because it was immediately came out that he died of natural causes, like that he died of a medical condition is what they said, and not.
Like
that immediately came out. Yeah, that immediately came out, and I was like, "Why? How do they know that?" But if he suffered from seizures and had one in the shower and hit his head, that makes sense. That makes sense as to why they would know that right away. But he was only 33, 4-time Pro Bowler. Remember the Super Bowl 50 team where they beat the Cam Newton won't jump on the fumble Carolina Panthers. Also played for the Texans. He played very briefly for the Patriots where he traded in the Jets in his last season. And with those Jets, within a week of him getting traded there, he was named captain mid-season. That's how much he was respected by everybody.
Yeah, everyone seemed to love the guy.
Started picking crops when he was 13.
Oh, yeah?
To help support himself. Yeah, he had a terrible, terrible home life. And basically worked his way up all the way through to support himself and his family. Like I said, start working as 13. Everything you heard was he was just a great person, great with kids, great with everything, really cared, and yeah, just sucks.
Do you think that the Broncos might retire his number now because of this? I mean,
I don't know if they'll retire his number. I'm sure that they had been talking about putting him into the Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
I feel like in the NFL at this point, unless you are one of the top 50 players at all time, there are just too many retired numbers. There are too many people who have to play for you to retire too many numbers. So Ring of Honor, 100%.
Okay.
Retiring 88, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the Bears at this point are like 30 retired numbers. And it's really
30 or like, that's not 30, is it? I know it's a lot.
I'll find out, but it's not like the Celtics retire as many numbers as they want, because they're only like 13 guys in the team.
While you're looking that up, I mean, when I was a kid, I used to hate that, like looking at the old, like when the Celtics were playing in Boston Garden, and it's like, come on, just put the name there with it. But I think there's something kind of cool about just maybe for you having a kid, like if you take your kids there, it's like, Dad, what are those numbers? Oh, let me tell you about I don't know.
Right.
Maybe it's
And the Celtics, to be fair, did retire a number. Nobody named Jim Luskatoff can never play for the team again.
he could, as long as he doesn't go by the nickname of Losky.
Of Losky, that is true.
Yeah.
So the Bears have only retired 13 numbers.
Okay. 13, 30. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 13 going on 30. By the way, the kid from 13
Yes.
going on 30 turned 30 the other day. So
and replicated that scene, the first scene from that.
Oh, did they? I didn't see that part.
Yeah, she replicated the scene where she was like, crap, what's her name? Jennifer Garner is just getting ready, just replicated that whole thing. Which, if that doesn't make you feel old, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's so many things that make me feel old. Seeing what Ray Don Chong looks like now makes me feel very, very old.
Yeah. Just by the way, the Patriots have retired 7 numbers themselves.
Hmm.
And this is why you should stop retiring numbers. Here are the numbers that are retired by the Celtics, by the Patriots. 73 for John Hanna. Got it. One of the greatest offensive linemen of all time. No problem. Right?
Yep.
Mike Haynes, number 40. Okay. One of the very, very good defensive back. 20 for Gino Cappelletti, 57 for Steve Nelson, 78 for Bruce Armstrong, 79 for Jim Lee Hunt, and 89 for Bob D.
We haven't even gotten to your.
Yeah. No offense to the rest of those guys. I loved Bruce Armstrong, who I think should be a Hall of Famer and may never be. Bruce Smith is very on the Bruce Armstrong Hall of Fame train. But no offense to Jim Lee Hunt, Steve Nelson, and Bob D. But really?
It could be the Trailblazers. Were you?
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah. Were you the water boy on that championship team from like 40 years ago? What's your name again? What number did you have? Yeah, there you go. Let's retire that thing.
Yeah. So
they're the worst. But anyway. Yeah, I guess
we're down to the last few here. U.S. presidential candidate Bob Dole, I just want to point that out, passed away at the age of 98. After the guy who played him on Saturday Night Live passed away.
Norm Macdonald, yeah.
Yeah, so
that was the first thing I thought of. It was Bob Dole. I think that might have been one of his last few tweets. I don't think he tweeted a whole lot. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know. I don't follow politicians.
Bob Dole still had one of the funniest answers from anyone ever on any show. So back on the Daily Show in the 90s, when Craig Kilborn used to host it, Bob Dole was on there with Craig Kilborn. And Craig Kilborn used to ask the 5 questions at the end. And one of the questions he asked Bob Dole was, Bob, America wants to know, boxers or briefs? And Bob Dole said, depends. And Craig Kilborn fell out of his chair. So he just shrugged one shoulder and said, depends. And it took Craig Kilborn a second, and then he laughed so hard he fell out of his chair. So, Bob Dole was.
Yeah, he probably could have won against a lot of other people.
Yeah. Here's the trivia question for you. Sure. Every candidate from the 1976 U.S. presidential election is dead except for one now. Who is it?
Well, it's going to be Jimmy Carter, no?
Jimmy Carter. Yeah, it's the last one. He won in 2 ways. So there you go.
Jimmy Carter is actually, I think, one of those great ex-presidents.
Jimmy Carter is the greatest ex-president of all time.
Yeah, if that makes any sense. Yeah, just not a great. I don't want to go politics.
Yeah. Most people would say that he had the greatest presidency. I think that's a fair statement. So whether or not he had other things going, I just think most people would say that Jimmy Carter was not one of our top 10 presidents of the U.S. So
no, but became and still is just a great ambassador for
100%
for your
100%.
country. I say your country for those wondering. I'm not an American. I'm a Canadian.
But you are the co-owner of the United States Athletics Hall of Fame.
Yeah, go figure how that happened.
Yeah. So 2 last names from the world of car racing. Al Unser Sr.
I missed that one. Okay, you said there was a big name in auto racing. I didn't even read that. Okay.
Yeah, he was 82 years old. Won the Indianapolis 500 in 70, 71, 78, and 87. Won the multiple seasons. He won the 1978 Triple Crown of Ovals in IndyCar, the 1970 USAC National Championship Trail, 83-85 Indy Car World Series. His son, Al Unser Jr., also one of the greatest racers of all time. And he's the only person to have a sibling, Bobby Unser, and child, Al Jr., who win the Indy 500. So, and his nephews, Johnny and Robbie, have also participated in the Indy 500. So,
when they come out of the womb as an Unser, they turn left.
Pretty much.
But
but this is IndyCar. So IndyCar, they turn left and right in that one.
Wonder if it would mess them up if they just got to the track one day and say, no, we're going the other way.
Yeah. So there have been 4 people who have won the Indianapolis 500 4 times. One's Al Unser Sr. Can you name the other 3?
AJ Foyt.
AJ Foyt's the first to do it. Unser was the second.
Did Andretti?
He did not.
I don't know.
Well, third one I think is hard. The fourth one is not as hard. I would have guessed the fourth one. I don't think I would have gotten Rick. The third one's Rick Mears. So I don't think I would have gotten that one. But the fourth one was also known for his work on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, I definitely won't know this then.
Elio Castroneves passed away. Oh, not passed away. He's a 4-time winner. So, but Al Unser Jr. was 82. And finally, somehow we have 3 Rolling Stones remaining and only 1 monkey.
Okay, Keith Richards is going to outlive everyone.
Agreed. I mean, and of all the Rolling Stones passed away, Charlie Watts, really? But anyway, Michael Nesmith passed away at the age of 78.
Way more important than people realize. But
yeah, I mean, go ahead. Just go ahead on it.
Well, okay, the Monkees is probably one of the more talked about bands on our site, non-Hall of Fame, in terms of debates, mainly because of their origin. They were put together group. That part is in undeniable. They didn't play on their first album. I'm not even sure about their second one. And they were pretty much created to capitalize on Beatlemania, specifically Hard Day's Night. Mm-hmm. But these were 4 guys who could play.
Yep.
4 very talented musicians. Nesmith was the cerebral bass player. I didn't realize, as I'm looking through this, that he wrote a different drum. That was a hit for the Stone Ponies, Linda Ronstadt's band.
Okay.
I just learned that today. So, and then I read a few interviews how, like, after the Monkees sort of broke up, I mean, he was really big in that whole country rock scene. So it makes you wonder I think that if those 4 guys didn't win those auditions, because I think Stephen Stills is actually someone who applied for that and didn't get it to be one of the Monkees. Nesmith would have had a career in music, maybe no matter what. I think Davy Jones would have too, just because the way he looked. He just sort of encapsulated to me the 60s. Somehow he would have gotten some kind of work. But Nesmith too, a lot of people, somehow it got written that he created MTV. He didn't, but he was one of the earlier pioneers of the music video. He worked out putting together.
He won the first Grammy for video performance, actually, believe it or not.
I read that too, yeah. Which is, crazy to think about. But
yeah, 1981's Elephant Parts, whatever that means.
No, I'm not going there. But yeah, he put together something for Nickelodeon, and that was sort of pitched to MTV, and then so he became a consultant there. So he was a visionary of sorts. When the Monkees got played again, I remember this very well in the 80s, and I barely knew. I never saw the show. I remembered the music, but it was a fun thing to sort of watch. And then I don't want to say Monkey Mania, but I mean they got pretty big on the nostalgic circuit, much bigger. But Nesmith didn't bother with a lot of that, and the other 3 were sort of trashing him a bit. I remember a lot of that, but he was just one of those guys. It's like I've already done it. I'm not looking down on what I used to do. It's just I'm trying to do something else.
Right. Although he did call one of their albums the worst album ever produced as the Monkees. So
there's a lot worse shit than the Monkees ever did.
I know, but I'm just saying he did say that. So yeah, but I mean, Nesmith was 78. He passed away of heart failure. Just, I mean, one of the true legends of rock, and we're down to the last Monkey. I mean, the Monkees have been a band who a lot of people have talked about getting inducted in the Hall for a long, long time.
Mickey Dolenz is the last one, or is it Peter
Dolan? Yeah, no, Peter Tork passed away last year.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
Sorry, we're down to just Mickey Dolenz.
So if they tour now, it'd be just the Monkey.
I guess so, unless he picked up with the Gorillas. Yeah. So Peter Tork passed away at the age of 77 back in 2019. So, and Davey's been gone for a while now.
Yeah, that was a long one, man.
Yeah, there's a lot. So, get us out of this and into something else.
Yeah. Well, it's the shit box, and the weekly shit box is where I just will talk about something. I was going to go in a whole thing on Seth Rogen, who's a real asshole these days, but I don't feel like it.
Fair enough.
I just don't feel like it anymore. I'm in a much better mood. I'm a college football junkie, but we don't need 44 bowls. 40 fucking 4 bowls. Sponsored by a bunch of companies I've never heard of. So we're going to play the game called Does Evan know this company? Because Kirk doesn't.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, because a lot of these are, well, I guess that's sort of the Canadian in me, not knowing who the fuck some of these things are.
Before we get into that, I do want to say that my wife's hometown of Elk Grove Village did sponsor the Bahamas Bowl for 2 years. And got a lot out of that. So how much do you think it costs to sponsor the Bahamas Bowl? Because I know this because I know the mayor of Elk Grove.
I don't know. I mean,
so I just take a guess. What do you think of the title sponsor of the 2019 and 2020 Bahamas Bowl?
$500,000.
$200,000.
Okay, so a little bit more than what we have. That's why I decided I'd wear the Appalachian State hat today. That's not why, because they're going to be one of these bowls that I have no clue what some of these sponsors are. We should sponsor a bowl.
Hey, between you and me, we only need $199,000 to do so.
Was that all? Okay. Maybe that
Go
should
fund me, everybody.
I was just gonna say maybe that should be the Not in Hall of Fame toilet bowl.
The USA Hall of Fame
bowl. Oh shit! That's a lot better. Hey, I mean, why not? All right, so Bahamas Bowl doesn't seem to have a sponsor. Tail Greeter Cure Bowl.
The what?
Tail Greeter.
Tail Greeter or Tail Gator?
No, Tail Greeter.
I believe
Northern Illinois versus Coastal. Not that it matters who.
I believe that is an app for dogs who are trying to say hi to everybody.
Okay, I didn't actually look any of this up. I just wanted to see if you knew what the hell this stuff was.
I've never heard of Tail Greeter. I have to find that out now.
All right. I looked up what Cure Bowl. I don't remember the Cure Bowl. I mean, that seems like pretty cool. You know, just hey, they're gonna about breast cancer. That's kind of, I like that. But
Tail Greeter is a website that makes about tailgating at sporting events.
Why do you need that?
I don't know. It's basically a meetup for people who want to tailgate at the same game.
Oh, for fuck's sakes. It's pretty worthless. Okay. Roofclaim.com, Boca Raton Bowl.
Roof claim?
Yeah, .com.
So you're claiming someone's roof, or do you have to? You're painting an advertisement of roofs. When planes come by, they can see exactly what's going on.
All right, so yeah,
I'm just making this up as we go.
Right. Cricket Celebration Bowl. Well, I don't know what Cricket is. I'm assuming that's the wireless company.
I presume it's a wireless company.
PUBG Mobile New Mexico Bowl. I guess that's a new company.
PUBG?
PUBG.
PUBG, yes.
Oh.
PUBG, but I like PUBG. Yeah, continue.
Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl.
Well, Independence Bowl is at least one's been around for a while, but
Yeah, I know the Independence Bowl. I don't know what Radiance Technologies is.
clearly a solar company to get the power from the sun.
Right. Okay, so the Lending Tree Bowl.
Really? That's not the Lending Tree Anything Bowl. It's just the Lending Tree Bowl.
So it says.
Wow. That's for the money that should be going to the players, but it's actually going to the coaches.
That's what Lending Tree is? I don't
No,
know.
Lending Tree is a company we've heard of.
I never.
They have commercial stuff. No?
Well, okay, I don't know what, I'm sure I have, but I don't know what they do.
Okay.
I don't share. This one, the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl presented by Stifel. What the? So what does that mean? The fourth quarter, he get virtue signaled?
You could only hope.
What the fuck? R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl.
Mm-hmm. That's a freight. That's a freight company.
Okay. Well, this one I never heard of it, but I mean I can figure it out by the name. Myrtle Beach Bowl presented by Tax Act.
That's a whole bunch of accountants who have a stage show.
And a lot of these others, I know what the company is, so I'm just gonna give you the ones I don't know what they are. Easy Post Hawaii Bowl.
Easy Post, I'm sure that is a way of putting bulletins up on posts outside, and it makes it easy to do. Yep, that's what I'm going with.
Quick Lane Bowl. I mean, I remember this bowl name, but I don't know what Quick Lane is.
It should be a bowl that you that reminds you that if you are passing someone if you're in the far left lane, you should be passing someone. If you're not passing someone, move over. I'd be in favor of that bowl. Nothing worse than someone who sits in the left lane and just sits there without passing anybody while the car's back up behind them.
You ever hear Bill Burr's joke about that? So he says he went to so I forget what show he said this on, a late night show. Says his wife just gives him shit about that because every time he has to pass someone in one of those lanes or we're in the wrong lane, he says, "All right, let's play the game. Are they old or Asian?"
God.
Sadly,
I just appreciate Bill Burr for bringing the Boston accent to space in The Mandalorian. I just like the fact that the Boston accent is a real thing in the universe.
I've got to watch that damn show. Ticket Smarter Birmingham Bowl. I'm guessing that's
if they are a company that undercuts Ticketmaster and keeps the fees down, I'm all in favor of those guys.
That's Serve Pro First Responder Bowl.
Yeah, Serve Pro are people clean up after disasters. So if you have like a leak or something, they come in and clean up. They actually, I think they also do crime scene cleanup too.
Well, I know what AutoZone is. San Diego.
As you say, it's the space between the 20s, right? The AutoZone. And then you get into the red zone.
Like that. San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl. Guess that's self-explanatory.
Probably a bank. And does the Holiday Bowl take place in San Diego? Because that would make sense.
Wasabi Fenway Bowl. Like, are we talking about the actual?
You are.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah. That is the Fenway folks. By the way, the Red Sox bought the Penguins.
Officially?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't seem right, does it?
No. So now we get to see the Bruins get trashed in the Globe because they own that too.
The Red Sox organization owns the Bruins. Can they do that?
No, they own the Boston Globe.
Oh.
So the Boston Globe prints like glowing stuff about the Red Sox and nothing but crap about the Patriots.
Got it. Okay.
And so now that they own the Penguins, now the Bruins are going to get the same treatment.
Okay. Cheez-It Bowl.
It's the cheesiest.
Guaranteed Rate Bowl.
Those are the same people who have the White Sox stadium. So.
All right. Well, I know what New Era is. Valero Alamo Bowl. What's Valero?
Valero's a gas station.
Okay. Duke's Mayo Bowl.
Duke is the dog from the Bush's Baked Bean commercial, so I'm sure he has a mail service he set up.
Trans Perfect Music City Bowl. What's Trans Perfect? And I'm trying not to make a joke here.
I cannot begin to tell you without getting myself in trouble. I don't know.
That's usually something I would do. So we'll move on. Chick-fil-A, I know what that is, but
that bowl game I could guarantee is not being played on Sunday.
I don't know. Maybe it is. Actually, wouldn't that be interesting if the Chick-fil-A sponsored the Trans Bowl? Or the no, whatever. Sorry. SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl. Like, what are they? Like a UPS or something?
Sure.
I thought you'd know a bunch of these. I just figured
you're
Canadian.
I know what SRS distribution is.
All right, well, fine.
That's seniors.
Okay. The Tax Slayer Gator Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Tax Slayer is
H&R Block competitor.
Right. Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. Like they can't just call it Kellogg's. It's Kellogg's.
No, because Kellogg's is bad news right now. They
have
their strike. Their people have been on strike for 2 months, and instead of paying them, they are firing everybody and bringing in scabs. So
their food. Okay, Barstool Sports. I know what they are. Goodyear, Capital One, Outback. Verbo. What's Verbo? The citrus bowl.
That's Verbo is a way of, I think, sending money. Like
okay. And yeah, I mean, like it's just we don't need a 6-6 Old Dominion team in a playoff. And I'm the idiot. I'm going to be watching some of this shit just because I'm going to be home. I'm home. I can do it. There's nothing else on when this shit happens. But
sorry. Verbo is a vacation rental place for beaches and stuff. So
okay.
I have seen the commercial. As soon as I said it, I'm like, wait, that's not right. So
I you know what? I think we should have our own damn bowl game. The USAHOF. That's our end goal. 2030, we have that. We'll get a tie-in with
Independence Bowl. Independence Bowl.
We'll get a tie-in with some kind of shit. I don't know.
The Pinstripe Bowl.
Some conference that doesn't exist right now. So I'm not even because they keep changing.
You mean the Big 12? Sorry.
You can make that joke on almost anything, really.
I know. I
mean, the only one that I feel confident that will still exist in some capacity is the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, you never know.
My favorite thing going forward about the SEC is going to be watching Texas go 3-8 every year.
I knew you were going to say that.
I don't care about college football at all. I watch big games for the heck of it. Like I watched some of Georgia, Alabama. But I don't care. It's not that important to me. Mm-hmm. But just the idea of Texas, who like made the Big 12 do everything and then left the Big 12 and is just going to get their ass handed to them over and over and over again in the SEC. I'm going to be very, very excited about that.
Does the Longhorn Network still exist?
I believe it does.
Yeah. Was it just Matthew McConaughey saying, I remember when we were good? That was a terrible impression. I'll move on from impressions. Should we get to, I think, what's really the main event?
Let's get to that. I don't really have a very good, bad, and ugly. I'd rather spend the time on this baseball stuff.
Yeah, and my elevator up, elevator down is sort of tied up, and we mentioned that before we went.
Let's just tie everything in on this baseball thing.
Yeah,
I think this senior class of the Baseball Hall of Fame is one of the most important things ever we've had on. Yeah, in what we do. So,
all right, so let's go to that. So we've got 6 new inductees into the Baseball Hall of Fame. So let's just look at the first committee, the early baseball era committee that inducted Bud Fowler and Buck O'Neill. Before we go any further. Kudos and self-promotion here. Vinny Lospinuso made the case for Bud Fowler, and
he did.
He did.
Really good. I ignore the rest of the things on the podcast network, but I don't always have time to listen to everything. But I did listen to the Bud Fowler one. That's actually the one I definitely heard all.
Yeah,
I had no idea who he was.
And another thing I got wrong. I thought, and I said this on another show, that Bud Fowler was probably going to be the hardest case to get in because there's no footage, there's no nothing. Uh, and I talked about if there's going to be a recency bias, how do you pick the guy with no footage whose peak was in the 1800s? But they did.
They did.
And, congratulations to him, his family. But we're so super stoked, you, myself, Vinny too, really everybody, that Buck O'Neill, and I'm not a religious man by any stretch, but if I was, I do think that he'd be looking down right now, and just sort of saying, but, and not even being bitter, thanks. Go ahead.
This is 15 years too late. I mean, it's more than that, but in 2006, they had the sort of cleanup of the Negro Leagues where they elected 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 folks into the Baseball Hall of Fame from the Negro Leagues, including the first woman in Effa Manley was one of that part of that group. And Alex Pompez was the real big guy there for me. And they had this election, and they had Buck O'Neill's the special person in charge of it, and he presented and sang. I guess that's the one thing that he did get to present at the Baseball Hall of Fame. And the singing and everything. If you haven't seen that speech, it's wonderful. You should go back and watch it.
Definitely.
But he should have been elected with them. There's no reason he wasn't elected with them.
Maybe that's why.
I mean, so he was too honest, because there's so many, remember, I always say, Cheney committees, right? Where the guy in charge of the search committee ends up being the person they pick. He's called a Cheney committee because Dick Cheney did it. It happened with Jeopardy most recently. It happened with the Pope. Pope Benedict was in charge of the Pope search committee after John Paul died, and he got elected.
Sometimes there's something to it. The biggest snub in all the Hall of Fames I discuss is, in my opinion, Vince McMahon in the WWE Hall of Fame, because he won't let them.
Well, that's fair. I mean, that's one thing if he's not specifically not letting them. That's one thing.
But we don't know what happened in these committee meetings. He might have pushed them not to do it. I don't know.
That is possible, but there had to be a time, hey, don't like me now, but there had to be a time to put Buck O'Neill in. But again, let's not talk about the past. Buck O'Neill, highly, highly, highly deserving of this honor. And one of the two people I'm actually happiest for out of the people who got in.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure who the other one would be as we sort of go through, but I'll be curious about that. With this one too, and we've talked about that a lot. I actually had Buck O'Neill as an elevator up not that long ago, based on a few things that have sort of been happening around. And so here's my question, and kind of a serious one here, and I hate asking it, but I'm going to. Take George Floyd out of the equation. Does the Baseball Hall of Fame decide that they're going to take another look at the Negro Leagues? Does Baseball Reference say, you know what, we're going to collect all this data? And
I have no idea. Well, I mean, Baseball Reference had to collect all the data because they said that the Negro League stuff was as good as Major League stuff.
Right, but they just came out with that not that long ago. I don't know if that was in the works before. So I don't want to say to the Sports Reference people or suggest that maybe that's they probably could have been very well working on all this stuff before, because that seems like something they would do. But and I'm also sort of thinking about another conversation I had with I'm blanking on that, on the How the Hell Did This Get to Number One show with Fonda Bryant, and she successfully got Sony to get back back catalog for her dad. And she said, if George Floyd just doesn't happen, there's not going to be a pressure for me to be successful on that. I don't want to say this is a perfect storm, because just nothing about how we got here feels perfect.
Mhm.
Feels like an awful thing to say, but I don't think that the Baseball Hall of Fame would have done this, or at least sort of combined it. I'm glad they did.
Mhm.
Or maybe they would have, because I mean, there's only so much further you're running out of people.
I mean, there's still some pretty good candidates. Bill Dolan was on that list and got fewer than 4 votes.
Bill, yeah, Bill's the only one I feel super passionate. I don't want to say passionate because I'm really not that passionate about it, but someone who I think really should be into the Baseball Hall of Fame. I didn't feel that way about Ali Reynolds. I mean,
Lefty O'Doul.
definitely not Lefty O'Doul. I love the stories of both of these guys. Ali Reynolds to me just felt like he was the Jack Morris of his day in some ways. Just won a lot, but any good pitcher would win a lot with who he played for.
Yeah.
Like you were just.
I was gonna say, I think the most surprising person to me with the way they were doing the Negro League stuff is that John Donaldson didn't get in.
That's kind of who I thought was going to be the second person. I mean, I thought Buck was going to be a lock.
Yeah, we both thought Buck was getting in, but if there's a second person, I think we both thought it was John Donaldson. Although I would, if he had told me Bill Dolan, I wouldn't be that surprised either. But he got fewer than 4 votes, so.
So the other people who were nominated, just to go through this really quickly. Come on, scroll down. Stupid.
I have it right here if you want.
Yeah, if you can, just go ahead.
So the election, so there's 16 voters. Buck O'Neill got 13, Bud Fowler got 12. So you need at least 12 to get in.
Mhm.
Vic Harris got 10, John Donaldson 8, Ali Reynolds 6, Lefty O'Doul 5, George Scales 4, Bill Dolan, Grant Johnson, Dick Redding each got 3 or fewer. There were actually 4 votes between the 2 of them, or between the 3 of them. Just doing math, because everyone voted for 4. So
one thing I can't figure out, we're going to be transparent on everything unless she got 3 or less. Why?
yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Just say.
Whatever. I mean,
Maybe they feel bad about someone getting 0 votes, but who cares?
you do that anyway. We're going to
Yeah.
have a bunch of people who got 0 votes in a month.
True.
So,
But they're not dead. You don't want their ghosts haunting you.
I'm more afraid of the ghost. I mean, what's Kurt Schilling going to do? Like sending me a nasty tweet? Or
He'll bloody your sock.
bloody my sock. I'm telling you, check out his cameos on Twitter, or his cameos. He's in a basement. I swear he's in a basement and he's a hoarder. Like he snapped. And for the record, Kurt, if you're watching, I think you should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
We both do.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that's at least at the very least, we know we're gonna have 6 inductees. And here's the funny thing: of all the six inductees we have, there's probably 6 on the ballot, on the regular ballot, that are actually better players.
Mm-hmm.
The 6.
Yeah, let's come back to that. Let's get the Golden Days era, and then I want to go into that.
We'll go back to that another day. I don't want to go back to that today.
Okay.
But yeah, so the Golden Days inductees. Let's start off with someone that I'm the happiest for is Gil Hodges.
Yeah, Gil Hodges used to be you must be at least as tall to ride the ride.
Yeah.
He was like the gatekeeper. If you're not Gil Hodges in the Hall of Famer, if you're not better than Gil Hodges, then you're not in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad to see. I have no problem with Gil Hodges being in the Hall of Fame.
On Twitter, there's someone who probably follows you too. I don't know who's actually running that account, but it's Helton HOF, or Helton.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
He put out, or she, I mean, I don't know, put out that this is actually going to help out Todd Helton, because if we look at Jaws, Helton's just gone up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, because all 4 of these people that we're going to talk about are all lower than the average, or all were.
Yep.
So, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, keep going.
Well, I was gonna say this. I think this does help Helton. I don't think there's something that when we look at pure numbers, we forget how iconic some people were, and this is where Hodges to Brooklyn, and Vin Scully put out an op-ed of why Gil Hodges should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. I don't know if that swayed people or whether Vin did, reached out to anybody. I have no idea. And if he did, so he did. But Hodges was an iconic figure, and there's something to be said about a player that stays with one team. This does nothing for Fred McGriff. Fred McGriff will never be an iconic figure because he moved around too much.
He is the man for the Mansky training videos, man.
Yes, and that's the hat he should wear should he get in.
Yeah, just a blank blue hat. They should paint it blue on the thing. Yeah,
absolutely.
But nobody under the age of 30 has any idea what we're talking about.
But all four of these guys have that going for them. They were figures for one team. Well, not they played for other teams, but
we haven't named the other ones. So we have a couple of twins.
All right,
Jim Cott and Tony Oliva.
All right, so let's go to Jim Cott. If going back to my whole thing, elevator up, elevator down. This is huge for Tommy John. I think, because he could have easily been on this ballot. Tommy John now sort of supplants, and I'm not going to count Clemens, but as sort of like the winningest pitcher. Or there's another one, I think. Was it Matthews? I forget. But in recent memory, I mean, Tommy John's surgery is recognized in the Baseball Hall of Fame, but Tommy John isn't.
Right.
And I think Tommy John, to me, is more deserving than Jim Cott, personally. I don't have a problem with Jim going in. I do think that him winning he won all those Gold Gloves. Half of them he shouldn't have won. Bluntly, I'll say that, especially at the end when he wasn't even pitching 100 innings. But I don't have a problem with it. Your thoughts?
I mean, Jim Cott and Tommy John were like right next to each other on all the ballots they were on. So Cott's last ballot in 2003, he's at 26.2. Tommy John is right below him at 23.4. The two people below them, by the way, Jack Morris and Alan Trammell, who are both in. The only person on that ballot, by the way, higher than Cott, who's not in, and someone who I think gets helped by Gil Hodges, is Steve Garvey.
Yeah.
Who is another one, pretty much. I mean, I guess he played for more than one team, but you associate him mostly with the Dodgers. I know he played with the Padres.
Another I encourage you to check out on Cameo.
Steve Garvey?
Yeah, Steve Garvey. It's just the thick glasses that just I don't, we all age and shit like that, but Steve Garvey just felt like one of those guys who wasn't going to age. I don't know why. Like he just had that look about him to me, or maybe that he was the type of guy who'd make that deal with the devil.
Do you think you could get Steve Garvey to dress up like Steve Harvey?
I think it's more likely to get Steve Harvey to dress up like Steve Garvey.
Fair enough.
I think Steve Harvey will do anything for a buck.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it definitely helps them. I think someone else who's helped by this whole group, and by the way, the other person we haven't talked about is the one I was most excited for, Manny Minoso.
Well, do we go a little bit more on Tony Oliva?
Yeah, sure. Go Tony Oliva. So actually, I think Tony Oliva and Manny Minoso are tied in together, by the way.
Really?
The person I think is most helped by this ballot.
Okay. Who do you think is that?
Louis Tiant.
Okay. Interesting. I was thinking of Don Mattingly.
Mattingly is also helped by this ballot. A lot of those guys are all helped by this ballot, right? Who got in?
Because Mattingly and Oliva, to me, have very similar careers. I mean, they were so great for so long, and then their second half of the career is just so due to injuries and whatnot. I mean, hell, I mean, like, could this do something for Noma, another guy like that, who never got past the first ballot, but
no, he made it past the first ballot. Yeah, Nomar got at least 5 the first ballot.
Yeah, he did.
He was on 2 ballots. He got 5.5% in 2015 and 1.8% in 2016. So, yeah.
Well,
so he was on 2 ballots.
Yeah, I can see why you'd be super happy for Minoso. Which 2 are alive? Jim's still alive,
and so is Tony Oliva.
Tony Oliva. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Manny Minoso died back in 2015. There were going into the vote a week ago today, they had all sorts of stories about Minnie Minoso on the radio, about him. One of the producers on The Score used to work at a grocery store in Minnie Minoso's neighborhood, and talk about Minnie coming in on basically every day to buy something in this Cadillac that said Mr. Socks for the license plate. But I mean, Minnie Minoso is another guy that, if we are counting his stats for the Negro Leagues, because he did both, now we're up a whole nother level. So Minnie Minoso's stats, if Negro League stats count, is a significantly better baseball player comparatively than he was. Because Minnie was another one of those guys stuck by the color line.
He played 3 years there, I think. Yeah. Hypothetical. If all 4 of these men were alive, who would you make the hammer?
Hodges.
Okay.
I think just the place he holds in baseball history, just because of the way the Dodgers are revered over the White Sox and Twins. I think Hodges gets the hammer. I mean, I think that's what it would be in real life. My personal opinion is Minoso. But I think Hodges would if everybody were alive.
And Buck would trump them all.
And Buck O'Neill, that's a whole separate level.
Right.
Buck O'Neill, like all these guys alive, Buck O'Neill gets his own 1 hour special. Everybody else gets 10 minutes.
Do you think that, because a lot of baseball writers haven't put in their votes yet, that this might make some of them a little bit more, I don't want to say
less likely to vote for people?
Yeah,
100%.
Because not that I think any of them really feel this pressure anyway, but
I've been saying I think one person's getting in this whole time. I think David Ortiz is going to have with like 76% of the vote.
I think you're right.
And that's about it. Who's going to get in this year?
There's some...
and I'm trying to decide whether the 2 Cubans getting in make any real difference to the Dominican getting in. But I don't. I mean, you never know what's going to do what for anybody.
That's true.
But I mean, there's no question that Ortiz's numbers versus some of the guys who just got in are higher. And he's much more likable. I know that he failed the drug tests with the Mitchell report and he found out about it later and everything else. But I don't know how much that gets held against him, as opposed to A-Rod, who also had that happen to him, but then got busted for 100-game suspension for what happened with the stuff down in Florida.
And like I've said over and over, there's a secret society where Bonds, Clemens, Ramirez, Sosa, they all get together and they get drunk saying, I can't believe he's with J-Lo and he's on Fox. Like, they've got to be, I mean, it turned Sammy Sosa into a ghost.
He's definitely a ghost of his former self.
Yes. And if you don't know what we're talking about, just Google Sammy Sosa right now, and it's just like, what?
Yeah, it's a weird Dominican fashion trend. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it's basically the answer of who am I most afraid of running into a dark alley? It's actually Sammy Sosa. Because, I mean, I think all the other ones, I mean, okay, they're just going to beat me up and take my money. I don't know. I think Sosa's going to try and steal my soul the way he looks now. He's frightening to look at. I'm repeating myself. I've said all this.
It's weird. But anyway, so the rest of the vote, by the way, for this one. So, again, 16 votes. Everybody can vote for 4. So going through this, there are only 47, 57, 61. So only 3 votes unaccounted for in this whole thing. So Minnie Minoso got 14. Hodges, Cat, and Oliva all got 12. Heartbreakingly, Dick Allen only got 11. The only time I'm glad he wasn't here to see this, because if we ended up 1 short again, that would have killed them. And then Ken Boyer. Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. Ken Boyer, Roger Maris, Danny Murtaugh, Billy Pierce, and Maury Wills each had 3 or fewer. There are 3 combined between the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them.
Mhm.
So they got 3 combined votes between the 5 of them. If my guess would probably be Will's, Merritt, and Will's got 1, Merritt's got 2, would be my guess if I had to divide those things up. I don't think Pierce, Murtaugh, Boyer got very much at all.
Probably not.
But yeah, Dick Allen, 1 vote short.
If I had O'Neill as a lock, I've said this, I thought Allen was lock number 2.
We've talked about it for 2 years.
Yeah. I got nothing, man. My hands are up.
Dick Allen was the best player on that ballot.
He was, and I don't want to say it's
Again, taking Buck O'Neill out of it. I'm talking about just that golden era ballot.
yeah.
Dick Allen's the best player on that ballot.
And it's not to take away from the 4. I'm so happy. Like, this is a great week for us.
Oh, amazing week.
Yeah, for what we do, I'm looking forward to revising this and taking these 4 legends off, especially Hodges. I never thought that was going to happen. But
can I just talk about Dick Allen's MVP season in 1972?
Yeah, definitely.
Dick Allen led the league in home runs, RBI, walks, on base percentage, slugging, OPS, and OPS plus.
Mhm.
Home runs, walks, OBP, OPS, and OPS plus, as well as slugging and RBI. Absolutely ridiculous. He had 308 with 37 homers, 113 RBIs, and on base percentage of 420.
I don't get it. I don't know what it was that sort of happened here.
Yeah.
I really don't. I mean, especially like because Cott surprised me. Unless they're just thinking, well, he's alive.
Maybe. Yeah, if Dick Allen's alive, does he get in? I think he does.
It could be, and I think sometimes it's harder to say because when you've got 16 people talking, like, we don't know what went on in that room.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a lot like what we do. And just a little bit more shameless plug. We're going to be doing the same thing. We're going to a week or 2 weeks before the baseball does their vote. We're going to put, if you want to be a part of it, hey, please do. Just put your damn clothes on when you get there. Sorry.
That's an inside joke, just so you guys know.
A little inside baseball. And we're going to be pretty much doing the same. People will make their pitches, and then we're all going to just vote there. And obviously, it doesn't necessarily mean anything there, but it's a similar type of thing for what they do in these committees. One thing also I do like is these committees seem to be changing. It's different people and different perspectives. Not to speak ill of the dead, but I'm glad Joe Morgan's not around for this.
Yeah, Joe Morgan, I think, blocked more Hall of Famers than anybody.
Absolutely. And I can honestly say, I think if you look back at the player of the decade, Morgan's got a case for the player of the 1970s. He was that good. Just an incredible baseball player, but he was a hall blocker. Different people will come on these committees and they'll be thinking like that, and that's okay. It's just different perspectives. Either way, this has been a great week if you're a Hall of Fame watcher like we are, and congratulations to all 6 men. It's well deserved. Hopefully, there's going to be a couple more people joining you.
We'll see. I am pessimistic now that they have this many people. They already have the goodwill. They don't need to put other people in.
And if you're a baseball writer with part of this, and I'll never get on that. You'd have to be a part of that group for 10 years, which I'm not going to sign up for. So that's one Hall of Fame thing that I will never ever be asked to be a part of, and I'm okay with that. But Jesus, if that's your reasoning, well, I don't have to now. Fuck you. That's all I can say. Go fuck.
Yeah, I'm going back to Dick Allen. I'm sorry. He led the league in OPS back when, again, nobody cared about OPS in the 70s. He led the league in OPS 4 times in his career. He had 2 years with OPS over 1. In that year, he was 1.023 in 1972 when he won the MVP. back in 1966 when he finished fourth for the MVP. He was 1.027. His OPS plus was 181 that year. He was fourth, and he was it's 199 in 1972, which is got to be close to the record for highest OPS plus ever.
And I don't know so much about OPS plus, but I know with OPS, that's one stat that I had a chance to talk to Greg Zahn, a former Blue Jay catcher.
Mm-hmm.
I was asking him, like, do you think that this whole stat craze has gone too far? It's just like, absolutely. But is there any stat now that exists that didn't exist like 30 years ago that you think is relevant? He said, OPS. I said, like, we all think that. And it's one of those obvious things that, like, how did we not pay more attention to that? When I look back as a kid, like, how did it take so long for people to sort of like put those two things together and really define a pure hitter? Because I know growing up, I'd look at the batting average more than everything. But that was sort of the era I grew up in. I mean, like, that's your first thing that you look at. But yeah.
I mean, OPS is one of those things. If it existed, Wade Boggs would have been the most feared player of the 80s. He was a very, very good player, one of the most feared hitters. But I can't tell you, I remember growing up, how many people were just like, just swing the bat when he would take a walk in a big situation because he refused to swing at bad pitches, right?
Yeah.
But he just absolutely was way ahead of his time on OPS.
Back in
we didn't realize that at the time.
A pitcher would actually he'd start in the first inning and he'd still be there in the fifth. Yeah. And we didn't cheer for him if he got pulled. We expect. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just going on.
Yeah, but I mean, he is just like, you should have figured out, hey, this guy gets on base a lot. That makes a big difference. But no, he's up in a big moment. And then that counts against other guys who were putting the ball in play because walking wasn't what they were supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm. We're also the same culture that it took us until the 90s to put wheels on the suitcases.
Oh, you're one of those people.
And I remember.
You'll just carry it yourself.
I remember, like, so going with first bunch of suitcases I had. Didn't have.
I still don't have something with wheels, but I carry a big ski bag pretty much for everything because it doesn't look like anyone else's bag. So,
not a bad idea. And with that, I mean, our regular segments, I think we sort of tied all that in.
Yeah, it all just got tied in. I think that was, I mean, we had so many deaths that we had to talk about, and that was just such an important thing for what we do this week.
God, yeah.
I'm glad we spent the time and dumped everything else. I think it's it's the most encouraging thing that's happened with the Baseball Hall of Fame in a very long time.
It is. It's been a great week for us. Great. Hopefully it's a great week for all of you. Blatant self-promotion time. Hey, you can vote. NotinHallOfFame.com/USA. The United States Athletic Hall of Fame class will be announced this June, the first of its kind. Does it exist anywhere else? Better not. We trademarked it.
And I will say this, more blatant self-promotion. Yeah. If you happen to be listening to our podcast and have access to a radio station and would like us to discuss it, both Kirk and I are more than willing to do so. So the more we could talk about, the more people get to vote.
Sober.
Well, I mean, let's not go that far. But like, the more we could talk about, the more people will hear about, the more people hear about, the more people will vote, the more people will vote, the more legitimate the vote becomes. We want a lot of people voting, not for money-making purposes or anything sort of like that. Like, we're not making any money off of this.
No,
what we wanted,
not section either, I don't think.
Yeah, what we want to do is make sure we have the best thing we can with as much participation as we can. And the more we can talk about outside of our own podcast, the better we can be. So,
and it's fully transparent.
100% transparent.
Yeah. So your votes do matter here. It's not like something where, okay, well, this will count for 1 percentage of a vote. No, we put together a committee to put the nominees together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a stacked committee that's growing, that still continues to grow. You know, former NFL players, Olympians, and us.
Coaches, fans, yes. Us. Like, there are other people. And that's the only gatekeeping that's getting done.
That's
The
it.
only gatekeeping is getting done is that we have the right people there. And while you might say, hey, why is this person not here? They're just like, particularly this first class, they're just way too many people we could have put on this list.
For sure.
But those people will come up. The only gatekeeping we're doing is making sure we have the right people and not joke people to vote for, right? And after that, our votes count just as much as everybody else's. We don't have a special anything. There are no writers or nothing. All the votes are done by you guys, the fans.
Yeah. So please vote. You can vote every day. Other thing too, another self-promotion. Chris Bournet and we do a show called This Crap Was on National Television. We picked a new show or a new thing that we're going to look at. We did the Love Boat pilot.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
That was not the Love Boat I remember.
Oh, no, in it, yeah, there was attempted murder on this one. I never remembered seeing that at all. So, but we're looking at, because both Chris and I met through our wrestling projects. So in 1985, Rowdy Roddy Piper hosted the All-Star Saturday Cartoon Spectacular or something like that. I forget the title. And where they promoted all the cartoons that were going to be on for the new lineup. His special guests included Pee Wee Herman, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Patti LaBelle, and New Edition,
who are 8 people who have never been in my kitchen. I had to count the members of New Edition in my head there.
Yeah. Go on. Pee Wee Herman's still alive. Ask him, Alex. He's never been in my kitchen. So
Bobby Brown's still alive.
Yeah, Bobby Brown.
Are all the members of Belle Biv DeVoe? They're all still alive, right?
I'm pretty sure they're all still alive. Yeah,
I think every member of New Edition's alive.
Yeah.
Wow.
Most of them are also the only ones that are dead are Piper and Captain Lou Albano was on the show. He's no longer with us.
Well, Cyndi Lauper crushed him by having so much fun.
Well, that's all she wanted. Yeah. So
when the working day is done.
Yeah, it's not even so much that this is a terrible show. It's just that I don't.
It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe who the casting director was.
The casting director would have been Cyndi Lauper because she was the producer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So there's a scene where Patti LaBelle's lip syncing. I forget the name of the damn song. One of her 80s hits. Dun, 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 dun.
Continue.
And, yeah, I really helped there with that. And so she's there dancing with Pee Wee, Kareem, and Piper.
Wow.
I don't even remember seeing this. So I'm so excited to talk about this.
Excellent.
I had to bring it up.
Cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. And with that, the Hall of Fame show is closed. Thanks again, wherever you are. Stay safe and have a good one.
Take care, guys.